So today I'm going to teach you how to adjust the color of a place selection so that your place selection actually matches better with the background that you're placing it into. And the way that we're going to do this is we're going to make a gradient map and then a clipping mask. But first, let's start in our Girl Hunter PSD. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a selection and we're going to select her. I've already made my selection, so I'm just going to go and load mine. Now that you have your selection, what you're going to do is you're going to go and refine the edge. So go to Select and Refine Edge. And then what you're going to do is you're going to click and drag because we want to include her little hair wispies into our selection. This will just give her a more natural look for when we actually place her into the next image. Once you're done, press OK. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're actually going to save that to our selection. So go to Select, Save Selection, go choose your channel, and then press Add to Channel, and OK. Now we're done with her for a while, so let's go over to the Woodsy Meadow PSD. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to find the darkest, the lightest, and the most neutral parts of this image. But first, let's create a copy of the background layer. Command J. And let's name it Background Copy. Alright, now that you have your copy, let's go and find those points. So let's go to Layer, New Adjustment Layer, and choose Threshold. Press OK and your threshold panel will come up. So what you're going to do is you're going to drag the slider all the way to the left hand side and your image will be completely white. As you drag backwards, you're going to see these black areas appear. And these black areas are the darkest areas of your image. So once you get an area that's big enough, go to your Color Sampler tool and go and set a point there. So I'm going to set mine there. We're going to do the same thing with the white point, but we're going to drag it over to the right hand side. And your image is almost completely black. These white areas here represent the lightest areas of your image. So let's go and set another point in one of these light areas. I'm going to set mine there. Now that we have our darkest and our lightest point, let's go and set our neutral point. To do this, go back to your background copy layer and then go and make a new layer. Let's fill this layer, so Edit, Fill, and we're going to fill it with 50% gray and press OK. We're going to change the blending mode from normal down to difference. Then let's go back to our threshold layer and double click on the thumbnail. This will bring back up your threshold layers panel. So now what you're going to do is same process as last time. You're going to drag it all the way back towards the left and then back until you see the black areas. Except this time, these black areas represent the most neutral points of your image. So, once you get an area that's big enough, go and set another point. Now that we've set all of our 3 points, we no longer need the threshold layer or the 50% gray layer. So let's go and delete those. Alright, so now what we want to do is go and actually make little swatches up in our left hand corner of our images. So now what we're going to do is we're actually going to go and make another layer. And let's name it BGW Swatches. Alright, so now go to your brush tool and go and find your black point. Mine's right here. Just hover over it, and then if you press down the Alt key, you can actually pick that color with a little sampler tool. Do the same thing for your neutral area. So hover over, Alt, click, click again, hover over, Alt, click, and click again. And you could toggle on and off this layer depending on if you want those swatches shown or not. We need them for now, so leave them there. But go back to your background copy layer. Then go back to your Girl Hunter PSD and we're going to use the Move tool and we're going to move her over into the Woodsy Meadow. And from this point you can adjust her any way that you would like. The way that you would do this is by going to Edit, Free Transform, or Edit Transform. I'm just going to leave her there for now. And what we're going to want to do is see the background has this greenish tint to it, but she does not. So we want to give her that greenish tint. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to make a gradient map. So go to Layer, New Adjustment Layer, and Gradient Map, and press OK. And right now we're on the mask for this layer. We actually want to be on the actual gradient thumbnail over here. Then we're going to go and double click up here, and we can actually set our gradient here. We actually need a middle point because we have a neutral point that we're going to set. So go directly under the bar and then click to add a stop. Now that we have our 3 stops in here, we need to go and actually set the colors of them. So double click on your first stop and then go and select your dark point. Press OK. Double click, set your neutral point, press OK. Double click, set your white point, and press OK. Once you're done, press OK. But as you can see, this has affected your entire image, not just your selection that you wanted it to affect. So what we need to do now is to create a clipping mask. So make sure that your gradient map layer is the layer that's active, and then your layer underneath with the girl, let's name that. Let's name it Placed Selection. And make sure that your place selection layer is directly underneath your gradient map layer, because what's going to happen is the clipping mask is going to clip the gradient map layer into the place selection layer. So let's go and do that. Make sure gradient map is selected, go to your panel options, and select create clipping mask. Now as you can see, only your girl's affected, not the rest of the image, but now she's way too green. We can adjust this by adjusting the opacity. So let's put her at 30%. For these projects, I suggest you choose between 25 and 30% opacity. Now as you can see, she looks much more natural, and she actually still has that greenish tint, which actually makes her look like she was taken in this photo. What you're going to want to do next is to save this image. You're going to want to first save it without the gradient map, and then with the gradient map. Once you have these images, go and insert them into the master template that I provided. You then must go and complete the other 2 examples with the images that I provided, and then you must do an additional example with your own provided images. So let's go and take a look at the other examples. We have a model placed in a poppy field. And then just to show that this can be done with objects and animals as well, I've actually placed a turtle and done the same process with him. So he used to be more of a greenish color, but we wanted him to look like he was part of this image, so we made him more of a bluish color with that gradient map. As I said, what you're going to do in the end is you're going to put all of your images into your master template, and then I ask that you please leave me comments or suggestions. I hope that you've learned a lot today, and have a nice day.